Chapter 46. Chakra nature revealed. Following that, Kaizen was guided towards the device, a sophisticated apparatus that emitted a gentle and consistent vibration. Upon sitting down and resting his hands on the armrests, the technician started the calibration procedure. "This will be a comprehensive scan," the technician said. "Simply remain calm and allow the machine to perform its tasks." As the device activated, Kaizen felt a gentle hum of energy coursing through his body. The machine began to analyze his chakra, displaying various readings on the console screen. The screen displayed a detailed map of his chakra network, illuminating the points of energy distribution throughout his body. The machine started processing his chakra, and he experienced a soothing sensation spreading throughout his body. The numbers representing his affinities began to appear on the device's display. The atmosphere in the room was filled with anticipation as the scientists closely observed the incoming data. The values span from a possible 0 to 100, with higher numbers indicating a more pronounced affinity. Kaizen observed with great interest as the numbers rapidly increased. His water nature readings quickly reached 100, followed by corresponding readings for yin and yang. However, the device encountered difficulties as the numbers began to blink and eventually displayed 3 question marks, suggesting that the values being measured were beyond its capacity. As the device was processing Kaizen's chakra, the scientists' murmurs of disbelief filled the room. "I've never seen this before," one of them exclaimed, eyes wide with astonishment. This machine was constructed earlier this year and has been used to test a few of the elite Shinobi in the village. Nobody has ever pushed the values so high, much less past its limit like this. The senior scientist, equally baffled, leaned in closer to examine the readings. What's even more baffling is that this device is extremely accurate, going into decimal places to identify a person's chakra nature. For example, if someone identified as having a lightning nature on a chakra paper, it simply means their chakra has an affinity for lightning release. On this device, however, they would still have readings for fire, water, wind, earth, yin, and yang release, albeit in very low number values. Another scientist nodded while adding, "The only releases that most people have a value of 0 for are the kekkei genkai releases. This device can measure even the faintest affinity for the basic nature transformations, something that lower-grade methods like chakra paper can't do. It reveals the full spectrum of a person's potential affinities, even if it is incredibly low for certain elements." The room fell silent as the scientists absorbed the anomaly of Kaizen's results. One of the younger scientists, clearly puzzled, voiced the question on everyone's mind. "It's unheard of for someone to show 0 affinity for all the basic nature transformations except for water, yin, and yang. What could this mean?" The senior scientist looked thoughtful. "This is indeed peculiar. Normally, we would see at least a minimal affinity for the other elements like fire, wind, and earth, even if it's just a tiny value. The fact that Kaizen has 0 affinity for these suggests that his chakra nature might be extraordinarily specialized." Another scientist speculated it could be that Kaizen's chakra network is uniquely attuned to these 3 releases to the exclusion of all others. This might mean that his potential in water, yin and yang release is far beyond the norm, compensating for the lack of affinity in the other elements. A researcher added, "We've never encountered a case like this before. This could lead to exceptionally powerful techniques within these domains, but it also means he might be limited in his ability to learn and use techniques from other elements." Kaizen listened, his mind racing with the implications. "Does this mean I won't be able to learn any jutsu outside of water, yin, and yang release?" The senior scientist hesitated before responding. "We're not entirely sure, Kaizen. We've never encountered a case quite like yours before. It could mean that you have 0 talent in every other element, which would be highly unusual. Alternatively, it might suggest that your affinity for those elements is so low that even our advanced device can't detect it, just as your affinities for water, yin, and yang are too high for the device to accurately measure." Another scientist added, "We designed this device to measure affinities with great precision, but it's possible there are limits we weren't aware of until now. Your results are pushing the boundaries of what we understand about chakra nature." Kaizen paid close attention, taking in every detail of the explanation. "So, in normal circumstances, when someone uses chakra paper and finds out they have a lightning nature affinity, they might think they have no affinity for other elements. But this device would show that they still have some level of affinity for all basic nature transformations, just at very low values." The senior scientist nodded. "Correct. the limits of the method of measurement in traditional techniques like chakra paper can lead to misconceptions about one's true potential. This device, however, was constructed to provide a more nuanced and accurate assessment. For instance, someone with a high affinity for lightning would still have small but measurable affinities for other elements. It's just that their talent for those elements is significantly lower. Another scientist chimed in. This means that even Shinobi who believe they can only use one or two elements might have the potential to develop abilities in others, albeit with more effort and training. The decimal places in our readings help us understand these minor affinities, which can sometimes be nurtured to enhance a shinobi's versatility. The senior scientist continued, however, seeing your results, Kaizen, is unprecedented. Your readings for water, yin, and yang have surpassed the device's capacity to measure, indicated by the question marks. This means your affinities for these releases are off the charts, beyond anything we've encountered since this device was created. Kaizen, intrigued, asked, "What were the highest results measured before mine?" The senior scientist paused, reflecting on past readings. The highest reading we've recorded on this device was 84 for fire release, and it was from none other than the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Lord Hokage is known for his extraordinary mastery of all basic elemental releases, but his affinity for fire release is particularly exceptional. Another scientist elaborated, for comparison, the other advanced devices used in Class A have limits that would only measure up to about 50 on the device you are using now. Anything past 50 on this device is exponentially more difficult to achieve. The devices for classes B through F, using lower-grade chakra crystals, typically measure up to about 10 on the device you just used. The sensitivity of the machine you are using is currently unparalleled, normally allowing us to detect even the faintest affinities. Kaizen's interest was piqued. So, all of my affinities surpass even the highest recorded affinity. The scientists exchanged excited glances. Yes, and what's more fascinating? One of them began, people's chakra affinities are at their weakest during childhood. These affinities naturally grow stronger as a child matures into adulthood. This means that your current values, which are already beyond our device's ability to measure, are likely to become even more potent as you age. Another scientist chimed in, "This is unprecedented. If your affinities are this strong now, we can only speculate on how powerful they will become when you reach adulthood. This opens up remarkable possibilities for your future development." Kaizen's mind raced with possibilities. This level of affinity was something he had never expected. Is it possible that my affinities could allow me to develop unique techniques, or even a kekkei genkai? The scientists exchanged glances, clearly excited by the question. "It's certainly within the realm of possibility," the senior scientist said. "With your extraordinary results, you might be able to create techniques that others would find impossible." While developing a kekkei genkai typically involves inheriting specific genes, your exceptional chakra nature could potentially lead to something akin to it through innovative jutsu creation. Another scientist elaborated, most known kekkei genkai are believed to be combinations of two basic elemental natures, like ice release combining wind and water or lava release combining fire and earth. However, it's worth noting that our understanding of kekkei genkai has evolved. For instance, wood release was initially believed to be a combination of earth and water. However, with the development of these advanced devices, it has been proven that wood release requires not only earth and water, but also yang release. This revelation has deepened our understanding of how these elements interact and combine to form new abilities. A third scientist joined in, adding, "While we are unaware of any existing kekkei genkai deriving specifically from a combination of yin, yang, and water, that doesn't mean it's impossible. In fact, your unique affinity might enable you to pioneer entirely new fields of ninjutsu." Yin release deals with imagination and spiritual energy, creating form out of nothing, while yang release deals with vitality and physical energy, giving life to form. Combining these with water release could yield innovative and potentially powerful results. The senior scientist nodded. "You see, yin release is used in genjutsu, creating illusions and manipulating the mind. Yang release is used in techniques that enhance physical abilities and vitality, like the shadow clone jutsu, which gives physical form. Water release, on the other hand, is versatile and adaptable, often used in both offense and defense. Theoretically, the interplay between these natures could allow you to manipulate water in ways that incorporate both spiritual and physical aspects, potentially leading to new and unprecedented techniques." Another scientist pointed out, "Despite your potential, developing such techniques will still require extensive experimentation and training. You'll need to deeply understand the principles of each chakra nature and how they can interact. The path will be challenging, but given your affinities, you have a unique opportunity to explore uncharted territory. Kaizen considered the implications. His rebirth into this world and his trained mind from his previous life had already given him an edge, but this discovery opened up entirely new avenues for growth. He could potentially develop techniques that had never been seen before, combining the spiritual and physical manipulation of chakra with the fluid adaptability of water. After some more conversation and confirmation tests of Kaizen's chakra nature, he left the facility and returned to his dorm to study for the remainder of the day. However, the scientists were busier than ever with their further analysis, as well as the reports constructed to send to the principal and the third Hokage. As Kaizen walked back, he couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. The confirmation tests had solidified the reality of his situation, pushing him to rethink his training regimen and future goals. Back at his dorm, Kaizen delved into his studies with renewed vigor. He also began theorizing frameworks for techniques that might become possible with his affinities. This was no longer just about becoming a strong ninja, it was about redefining the limits of what was possible in the world of Shinobi. Meanwhile, the scientists at the facility were in a frenzy of activity. The readings from Kaizen's tests were not just rare, they were unheard of. The implications of such strong affinities in a young student could shift the understanding of chakra manipulation and development within the village. Detailed reports were quickly prepared, filled with data, hypotheses, and potential strategies for nurturing Kaizen's abilities. These reports were immediately flagged as top priority and sent to Principal Kamiko and the third Hokage.